at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
It's empowering, you know. I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more.
I was coming back from a work meeting, and I was actually heading to the gym because Tara and Carl were away, and I was.
You were headed to Urban?
Yeah, and I was heading there to open it up for everyone for the afternoon, and I was at a stop sign, getting ready to enter on a 4-lane highway where the speed limit changes from 35 to 50. So you literally
309 you were going on.
Yeah. You have to literally wait for a distinct break in traffic. You don't try to pull out because you will get hit and die.
Yeah.
And I was the first car at the stop sign, and I just noticed like this truck was coming behind me and not necessarily stopping, and I let off my brake to give cushion and was rear-ended from behind by a Mack dump truck.
Damn, I think I know exactly where you're talking about too. I think I've made that turn. Like
yeah, it's right across from like that car sense or whatever it is. There
yeah,
now.
you go like Satterton, like towards the left, or like towards the right, is like towards Hilltown and Hatfield and all that stuff.
Yep.
Damn. So you get hit by the Mack truck, then like what's the next like 12 hours like? What's the next thing you remember?
After that, went to the gym. Had to open the gym still. And
after that exact moment? Damn.
And so remember, this is in the height of COVID.
Yeah.
So me going to the hospital wasn't really like an option. You're talking truly like the height where you're like, the only reason you should come to the hospital is if you have COVID.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stay away.
Yeah.
So I, opened the gym, and then of course, the best part of like this whole day was the fact that afterwards, when I was at Urban, somehow like the sensors on the fire alarm
tripped or something,
and then 6 fire trucks showed up, and I was like, this is the cherry on top of my day. And I had to call Tara and Carl and be like, I swear your gym is in one piece. I'm not, but your gym is. And I was, just dealing with all of that. And that's, really when the headache and the sore bodiness and everything kind of started setting in. And I actually emailed my PCP or messaged her, and that Sunday, because throughout the weekend it just got worse. My headache got bad. I was just sleeping. I was really sore. My neck was sore. My back was sore. I was having really bad episodes of vertigo. So I distinctly knew I already had a concussion.
Yeah.
And I messaged her, and she was like, well, there's not really anything I can do for you. You should really try to get in to see a specialist. Just let me know. Or if you really want to, go to urgent care. And I'm like, well, again, they're going to just tell me, the same thing, and we're also in the height of COVID.
They're going to COVID test you, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. And I then spent a couple of weeks trying to get in to see a neurologist and an ortho. And because I was an auto accident, no one would see me. It took me 3 months to find a provider that would finally take me.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't say it took me 3 months to actually get in. It took me about a month and a half to find them, but by their next appointment availability, it was 3 months out. So any optimized window for any treatment was off the table because of delayed care. Yet again, it's a common theme in my life. Apparently.
That's crazy. Was the symptoms getting worse over that time period? Did you note them like that?
Yeah. So when I originally called the neurologist, he was like, if I have any cancellations, I'll get you in as soon as possible. let's send you for these tests in the interim because it's going to take time for those to get scheduled.
Yeah.
So he did send me for pretty much everything, so that way they had it the day of my appointment, and he just asked me to track all of my symptoms. So and then because I was so young and healthy, he wanted me to track, and I truly tracked every single symptom for every single day for over a year.
Yeah.
So we could try to figure out what was triggering it, and we could never pinpoint it to one thing. And, that's the unfortunate side, is that as it got closer to the 1 year anniversary of the accident, I think it was the realization where I started to realize, wow, I'm gonna live with this. And he started to have those conversations with me lately, and so did my ortho, because things weren't getting better, and if anything, they were getting worse. So it was really unfortunate. And then also in the beginning of the accident, to be totally kind of sucked out of a gym environment immediately. I was essentially allowed to do non-impact, so anything non-impact, but I had to stay away from anything really heavy weights or anything. He was fine with me lifting and just being smart, but it had to be light, and cardio was only non-impact, so biking.
Yeah, nothing
you can do the elliptical, and I was like, I hate ellipticals. So I'll sit on a bike, but also it was kind of demeaning for me, or mentally frustrating to sit there and have to be in a gym, or watch and whatever, see people working out in full capacity, and I'm here sitting yay, on my bike.
Especially the week before, you were the top of the charts, right? Like crushing it. Did you have any sort of plan when you first went in there, when you finally got to see the specialist, the neurologist?
I was just really optimistic. I was like, okay, I'm healthy, I'm young, I'm in shape. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
But then as this too shall pass, it never passed. And when we started talking about how to manage my symptoms was when it really started setting in to be talking about managing my symptoms.
Yeah, not curing or anything.
We're talking about, how do I, on the day-to-day, handle what's going on, or how do I try to keep this from becoming worse when something, one of my, reactions kind of come and stem from everything.
You were talking about, he slowly started to, let it out that it was going to be, managing. Do you remember, your headspace when he, first kind of broke that to you? It's going to be a management thing and not a cure?
I had already kind of started to realize that before he actually told it to me. And that's because he slowly said, I'm fine if you start to get back into things that have a little bit of impact, but just be smart.
Yeah.
And which I was, but what I was noticing was I would try to maybe go do something that I used to, just even at 50%, and not be able to do it, or have to run outside and throw up because I was getting so motion sick, or have to I couldn't box jump. I could push if I wanted to box jump with one leg, which is very strenuous. That would be fine, but my left leg would sometimes not want to fire and would just stay down, and I would catch the box.
Yeah.
Or just certain movements where you're trying to go up, down, or then into a lateral, just makes me really sparks my symptoms. So I was starting to realize some of this before we even had the hard conversations around it. And then when I started to really have my, I think biggest aha moment was that it was permanent, was when I started to tremor again. I would get some tremors from my thoracic outlet, but on my right side, but they went away because the surgery had happened.
Yeah.
So when I started tremoring on my left side, and tremoring my left leg, and I think that's when I started to realize, I'm not getting back anytime soon. And even my ortho at one point, he was could tell I think I was down, and we're frustrated, and he's like, go for like a 400 and see how you feel, meaning a 400 meter run.
Right.
I did a 400 and I had the worst balance, was all over the place, and was extremely dizzy. And that moment, that 400 was that moment where I was like, I'm never returning to Spartan racing ever again.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. So what was it that like got you back into like more hard impact? Like when did you go to a CrossFit gym and like Urban is a CrossFit gym, but like where did you like transfer over full time to that?
Yeah, so that was 2020, you know, and towards the end of 2020, come into 2021, I would just kind of, in 2021, I also moved to be closer to my sister, my brother-in-law, and now my niece.
Nice.
Because, you know, family was a core component for me and something I value a lot. So I was in Urban. I would, you know, maybe pop into a CrossFit class or work out with Heather or Lee, and join them on the side or you know, someone else, and just really have to modify or just pretty much do what I could do.
Yeah.
And you know, I was there and kind of in 2021 for the Open with them, and again, like, did some of those workouts just totally, I shouldn't even call it that I did those workouts, because I didn't really do the workouts. I did them in how I could do them.
Yeah.
It was just me kind of being there that helped me mentally. And then when I moved in July of 2021, I had my own kind of gym basement and really just stayed on my strength and things like that. So for me, it was more of that strength training component, and would still go up to Urban on the weekends to work out and see my friends there. And that's when kind of one day Heather said to me, like, hey, like, you want to go to the CrossFit Games, which was August 21. And I said, sure, like, why not? And like, I have nothing else to do. I have no other vacation, so like, why not? Like,
were you a fan of CrossFit at that time already? No, not really.
No, not really. Like, I knew who Tia and Matt Frazier were.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Right.
So I, you know, and Matt wasn't even competing anymore. But yeah. So when I was there with them, and so it was myself, Heather, Tara, and Carl from the gym, we kind of all went and saw the adaptive division. And then I'm sitting there and
That's the first year of it, right?
Yeah, it was the first year. So I'm there, I'm opening up the rule book, and I'm like, what are the eligibility requirements for this? And I'm like reading them, and I'm, you know, just off of the top of my head, like knowing, you know, what I have. I was like, man, like, I do qualify. But I was still very optimistic at that point, where I'm like, but maybe I'll get better.
Maybe you'll push back to the RX side. Yeah.
Maybe, and like, maybe I can get back to it. Maybe this is just a small, like, window of time here. Like, this time next year, it could look totally different.
Right.
And I think that was just me trying to find my own positive self here, just not wanting to come to terms with it. And to then kind of come home, and just really things continued to get worse for me in terms of symptoms and just really managing them. I mean, there would be points where we would be sitting as a family having a picnic on a Saturday, and my headache would just
exploding,
and I would just go home.
Yeah.
Even like just hanging out with family. So it was a rough time for sure. Because I'm a person that likes that purpose, and especially in my fitness, I like to have something to train for. And yeah, I mean, people can always say like, well, you train for yourself. Yeah, like, I like to train for myself and feel good about myself, but I also like to train for something. Like, I like to have intentive purpose. Or intentional purpose. And
you like work out for yourself. You like train for something.
Correct.
You know?
Yep. And that's where I had this void for a long period of time. And then a couple weeks before the Open. I actually think it might have been the week of the Open for 2022.
Yeah.
It was the Saturday before. I was working out with Heather and Lee again on a Saturday, and they were like, "You realize like you qualify, right? Like you are like the eligibility." Like you have the impairment, but your impairment also like you fall under the eligibility requirements. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize is that your diagnoses alone doesn't qualify you.
Yeah.
Okay, so just because I have traumatic brain injury or thoracic outlet syndrome doesn't just automatically qualify me because I have those diagnoses.
Right.
You need to follow or fall under an impairment. You need to have one of the impairments. And that is kind of umbrellaed by or underneath the umbrella of your diagnoses.
Yeah.
So that's one of the, I think, if there's something that people should learn about the adaptive vision, it is that. And I was like, I know, but I think it was hard for me because as a neuromuscular, and then when I started to get to know some of the other girls this past year, we all kind of feel the same way. As a neuromuscular, you look at me and you think I'm normal.
Yeah.
And then, unless you were attentively paying attention, or see me work out every day or things like that, you would never know.
Right.
But if you start to pay attention and then see me work out, like everyone here is like, I don't look at you after a workout because it just scares me.
Yeah.
You would know.
You were having those feelings like already before you signed up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming in.
Yeah. And then I was like, you know what, just do it. So I did it. And I was like, what's the worst that can happen? I was like, I finished last in the Open, so be it, whatever, we'll just see what happens. Here I finished fourth in the Open, and then that's where I decided, I was like, oh, well, maybe I should start to learn these skills.
Wait, where were you when you found out your placement?
I think I was like, when all the scores were finalized, I was at home, and then one of the first things I did like immediately after was message actually Amy to be like, hey, just wondering, do you happen to have anyone at your gym that competed in the neuromuscular division?
Yeah.
And like, did they make it to semifinals? And if so, like, do you mind if I were to come down or like talk to them and see if they would want to do semifinals together? Because I don't want to do it by myself.
Because you were working out here a little bit at that point? But
yeah.
Would you do your solos with Amy at that point?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So I was just like kind of dropping in here and there because I live now in Downingtown-ish area.
Yeah.
And I was closer to here, and I wanted just that community aspect again. That was the part that was a little missing for me once I did move, was that lack of gym community.
Yeah.
You can't get the same things out of working out of your basement that you do when you're in a gym with people.
Facts, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I started, coming here and doing I got a punch pass and did some drop-ins here and there, and would go up to Urbanstone on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And so I had actually, also consulted like with Carl too, to be like, hey, I did move on, like they're very busy too, to just know, would you, even if I were to make it, like, would you be able to go with me and coach me? And that's kind of where we mutually both decided, like, for him, and they had just bought a house, they have a farm kind of in that house, and he was like, you know what, you should really kind of go down and train, with Amy, because she's the best in this area if you really want to go to the games, and start to have, skill sessions with her. So that's where, in that conversation too, I said, if you have it in your schedule, and I totally understand if you don't, to do some skill sessions, because I'm like, I guess I should probably learn to toes to bar, actually do a pull-up better than just a kipping pull-up, and then probably should learn some dubs. Okay, the basic foundation of CrossFit. And that's where I started coming down right before semifinals and working with Amy. Yeah.
Did you let yourself believe that you were gonna have a big chance to go to the games at that point?
No.
No, kept it away.
I still just was like, no, don't. Everyone's like, are you booking a hotel just in case? Or okay. I was like, no. I am not the type of person to put the cart before the horse and jinx myself. No. So I didn't do that. and just kept kind of in focus again. And it helped me because through that and through coming in and working with Amy, I refound something to train for.
Yeah.
And it kind of helped me get out of a funk. It helped me, mentally, to be back to like my chipper self and my happy self, and be in a community and just have that be a core part of my day to day. But even what was more amazing is that what was frustrating for me after the car accident is I was having a lot of disconnects, meaning I would try to do something, but for some reason I wasn't connecting, the flows of a lift or a movement all together because I was losing the thought process of it.
Right.
And really the neuro function of it too. Just simply down to the bone basics of the fact of like nerve function and how it's firing.
Right.
And I think that was the really cool part about working with Amy is the fact that we would try many cues, and we would write them down, and then we would cross it off and be like, that clearly was not the one.
Yeah.
Was not the one to write down, and we've stuck with those cues. We found like which one works for my head to process that cue to make it connect.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of trial and error, but now that we've kind of gone through that a couple times, we pretty much can guess, or she can guess on what the right cue is at this point in time. And for the most part, it might not be the right one right away, but one or two after, it's going to help me connect. And that's the biggest part for me is I have to really think through my movement.
Right. That's awesome. Like Amy's really good at that, like changing up the cues, like not sitting on the one that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But like you need that personal relationship between an athlete and a coach to be able to fast track that, right? Like for the first few months, it takes like 4 sessions to like find out the right cue. And then the next month it takes like 1 session, and then like after that it takes 1 time of doing the cue. So that's really important. What was like the semifinal process like? People that don't know, semifinals for adaptive athletes, that was your quarterfinals. There was no middle step between the open and the semis, right?
Yeah, so essentially going into semifinals, we submitted a couple like just pieces of medical evidence or, initial pieces of documentation prior to semifinals. And then semifinals was fun. Not fun. There was a bench workout in semifinals, which when I saw it, I immediately had a breakdown because I know my power output in my shoulder when under a load for that type of volume was going to be a miserable nightmare for me. And sure enough, like it was like we had tried some volume on that, and I would get to a point of almost full extension and my arm would be like, yeah, sorry, nope, we're going to stop firing. Oof. And then it was just kind of would come back down. So really frustrating when you're pretty much 95% of the way there. And then all of a sudden your body decides, yep, no more power output. And this is coming back down.
That's crazy.
You. So I was pretty fearful that workout alone was actually going to ruin my chances of going to the games.
Yeah, because you're bought in by that point now, right? You're like, okay, I'm committed to giving my best effort.
Yep. I was like, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And, that for me was, we made sure to kind of get that one out of the way first to just do it, get it done. We knew it wasn't going to be my best. And in reality, I did worse than when we practiced it.
Yeah, I remember that day.
I have never been so frustrated. I had 10 or 12 reps that I totally just failed because my arm failed.
Damn.
And I think that's one interesting part about thoracic outlet is that you can have strength in that shoulder, but sometimes the strength doesn't matter when the nerve doesn't want to function.
Right.
So, for me, like at a point of like when it's under fatigue, it just fails completely. And, sad enough that was that workout for me. And, I crashed pretty hard after that, and really just had to mentally fight back, and squeaked into the top 5. But really tried my best to just make the other 5 workouts count, essentially.
Yeah. Was that like, well, yeah, it was, but what was it like to push that hard again? I was going to ask, was that the hardest you pushed in like a while?
Yeah, it definitely was. My body was hating me in the moments, after the moment. My nutrition had to be on point leading up to it, which it was, and that helped a lot. But, tremors were bad. If you remember the one toe to bar workout, and I just, honestly, I know I lost grip at one point, and that's when I started tapping to single my toes to bar.
Yeah.
And after the workout, if you recall, my forearms
were so pumped, and
everyone
blue, right?
Yeah, my forearms were blue. People were like, are they bruised? And I'm like, no, that's lack of blood flow.
For like a long time too.
Yeah, it lasted for the rest of that day into the next day.
Yeah, because we were there for like an hour afterwards. It was the whole time that we were still there.
Yeah, so that was just pure lack of blood flow happening to my forearms. That was probably the worst that's ever happened. And so I think I starting to see like the worst of those kind of symptoms come out, but I had put my body through something I haven't done in a while, which is full-fledged exertion.
It's a lot.
And that's when that Monday after, when I did qualify, Amy and I sat down and we were like, all right, first let's recap and let's talk about how your body reacted, and we went through kind of all the workouts and how I reacted, and what could we maybe do in the strategy to keep that from getting so severe, so on and so forth. And that's where the elite athletes or the able-bodied athletes of the CrossFit Games, they're just going and thinking about strategies. An adaptive athlete is not only thinking about strategies for a workout, but now we're also thinking about strategies for our body's capabilities.
Yeah, for your body to not go into failure like fully.
So, prime example is the dumbbell push press workout at the games.
Yeah.
We'll use that one. It was a run, a rope climb, and 35 dumbbell shoulder to overhead. The run was going to be my money. The rope climb was 20 foot, it's just going to take kind of my time on that one. And the push press, we knew that, in an instance like that, I can't go 1 rep before failure.
Yeah.
As a coach, you would tell any athlete, stop 1 to 2 reps before failure.
Yeah.
For me, we were saying stop 3, 4, maybe even 5 reps before failure.
Yeah.
Because if you push the limit too much, you're not going to be able to get through the reps with chunks that you need to.
Yeah. You'll spend too much time like underneath the or above the red zone.
Yep. Yep. And then you'll be singling them and constantly singling, picking them up, like exerting more energy than you need to. So, for that, it was kind of trying to make up those strategies along the way to, especially once we started to know the workouts. I mean, at the games, Amy and I would talk every night then to talk strategy about the workouts. But for her, as my coach, it was more or less, okay, over the next 8 weeks, let's get strength on you. Let's build up some strength. Let's keep your diet and your nutrition on check. Let's get you volume in terms of workouts. Let's monitor how you react. And then for her, it was, I need to try to pick up the cues of when I know it's happening.
Yeah.
Because she'd always say, she's like, I can never tell sometimes. It wasn't until last weekend at King and Queen when Amy finally said, she's like, I saw it on your face. I knew it was happening. I knew you were crashing.
Yeah.
And she's like, I finally kind of picked it up.
Do you have tells when it's happening?
Oh yeah. I'll start to tremor, but I'll try to hide it.
Yeah.
Or just put my arm down and shake it out big, when in reality the tremors are starting.
Yeah, the shaking's not going to change. Yeah.
And then I just try to keep everything really tense under a load, so that way I can, by keeping the tension, I try to really focus on my grip.
Yeah. Yeah, like eliminate the tells of like I'm losing ability to move my hand, stuff like that.
Yep, exactly.
That's nuts, dude. So what are the final weeks leading up to the games like? Do you have like an oh shit moment like I'm about to go?
Yeah, I had a couple of those moments. I was like, is this real life? Am I going? And of course, like the unfortunate side is the cost from this past year was astronomical for flights, hotels, the whole nine. I think every athlete felt that. So it was really awesome to have the KOP community, the urban community, and other people kind of rally around to support me going. The sad part is this was, I think I said earlier, my mom never missed anything.
Yeah.
Never once missed anything, and this was going to be probably my biggest platform by myself, and I wasn't going to crazy enough have my mom with me.
Yeah.
And it was just the timing, what she does. She works with a lot of school districts and going back to school, she wasn't going to be able to come with me. But that's where when Aaron, I was like, so anyone? I was like, anyone want to go to the games with me? And Aaron was like, yeah, I'll go and I'll shoot. And she tried, and she did. She shot for Fleo, and she was out there too, which was awesome. But
yeah, you saw a couple of her pictures made to
I did.
The official highlight reel. That was awesome.
Yeah. So it was a huge relief to have Aaron with me because Kate and Amy had booked a long time ago because they were just going to go and spectate.
They booked before the Open. When the Open dates were announced, they booked, Because
they were just going to go and spectate. Little did Amy know I was going to come knocking on her door after the Open and be like, will you coach me?
Yeah.
And, so those two were in a hotel that was totally booked up by the time I tried to book. And I didn't want to be by myself in case I was having any, distinct neuro crashing or, any difficulty, so it was really nice to have Aaron with me through all of that. Yeah,
that's awesome. What's the first day at the games like?
Whew.
First time arriving, walking through the doors, check in.
So I'm sitting at the airport, getting ready to go on Tuesday, and when I'm there, they were like, "Hey, I got a text from my athlete control person, and they're like, hey, can you possibly come a little bit earlier than your scheduled check-in time?"
It's like, girl, I'm flying.
I was like, I'm going to actually get off the plane at 12:38 and I can, boogie right over and, check in. So it actually worked out really well that happened. So got off the plane, got a rental car, went right over to the grounds and checked in. And that's where I think it really hit me, and I was like,
I'm at the CrossFit Games.
I am here, and I'm competing. And so I got to take Amy with me through all of it, all the check-in, which was really cool to have her with me. And even when we went back into the Noble locker room to try on everything, that was an experience. Yeah. That was pinch your skin to make sure you're really actually there. And you walk back into those locker rooms, you see your name, you walk up to your locker, and all of your gear is there. And then they're like, by the way, this duffel bag right here has more in it, and all those shoes are yours. And so try everything on and make sure it fits, because if it doesn't, this is your only chance to get it hemmed. And thankfully, all my stuff fit like a glove. And yeah, you got pictures for Noble, you got pictures for CrossFit, and then you went through all of your vendors or your sponsors, and you got stuff from them, and then we were able to check out the athlete area, which was just wow.
That's dope.
The athlete area was so cool for where you have debrief and then athlete warm up and things like that. So it was just a super cool environment, and but the behind the scenes is amazing.
Yeah.
I have secretly my favorite athlete control people of Maggie and Meg and of course Marie and Angel, who were assigned to us, but they were awesome. Maggie, my first workout in the Coliseum, I just start dancing randomly, and I was super nervous, so I just started randomly dancing. And she started dancing with me, and I was
That's
like,
funny.
I know I'm going to love you for this entire week. And
Yeah.
sure enough, every time I went over, like, she gave me the biggest hug, and she was amazing. And then the medic team that we had, like, Kim assigned to us, was awesome. Got to meet her on that check-in day because we actually had to go through eligibility, like, reviews when we were there. We met with a medical team that kind of just took us through exercises and or tests for our conditions just to see how we were doing to help improve the process moving forward.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome.
Yeah, so they can see what to look for and stuff.
Yeah, because again, like, you know, they like to say that we're looking at it from a visual perspective in your videos, meaning our open or semifinal videos.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, especially, like, you're going to see it here and there in short glimpses for a neuro, but sometimes the biggest aspect for a neuro is after the workout.
Right.
After you stop.
Yeah.
Is when the biggest crash happens. Like, yeah, you're going to, on their certain workouts and certain loads, depending on how your body reacts to it, you're going to see it. But
yeah, like the bench press workout in real time, it happens. Yeah.
But for most part, like, when you step off camera,
is where the big stuff happens.
Yeah, it's where it's all happening. So, you know, but that was really cool to go through that and meet your medic that was assigned to you, because I got to say to her, like, hey, I'm going to tremor. It's going to look like I'm having a seizure.
Yeah.
To the common person, but then the common person won't actually put two and two together and be like, her eyes are open and she's talking.
Yeah.
So I was like, if you need to pull me off the field at any point because you think people are going to make comments, like, feel free, I don't care. I was like, just don't pull me off when I'm working out.
Right.
And, like, they did that. They pulled me off after the rope run shoulder overhead workout because I was tremoring pretty bad.
Shaking bad, yeah.
And they were like, we're just going to take you off the field.
Yeah, it doesn't look safe right now for everybody. So that's like being all about the business, right? But did you have any, like, fangirl moments when you first got there, or were you just, like, straight to business?
For sure. So Annie I love Annie and kind of her story.
Yeah.
And after last year and, you know, seeing Annie perform and then getting to understand her story a little bit more, her story allows me to relate to her a lot. If you've watched Next Gen, at one point she makes a comment in there, and this isn't quoting her exactly, but she pretty much said, like, I had points in time where I thought, I'm never going to get stronger. I'm never going to get this or that. And I related to that a lot. In that moment when I was watching it, when she said that, I was like, yeah, I literally had those same exact thoughts.
Yeah.
At some point after my accident, and I, you know, struggled with some of that, and then seeing and hearing her, and then also knowing how she kind of turned around and did what she did in 2021 at the Games was amazing. So of course, like, there was a moment where, and Amy has met Annie before and has was like, if there's ever a good opportunity, like, I'll take you over to introduce you to her. And there just really wasn't one. She was always warming up or with her team or talking to someone, and I just didn't want to interrupt.
Because she's competing at the Games too.
Yeah, I was like, hey! But there was the first, like, day or two when you're back there in the athlete area, you definitely have those moments. Like, Tia was up at, like, Noble when I went up to get something, and Matt Frazier and Mal O'Brien walked by, and then when we did the parading of the athletes, we were, like, right beside Danny Spiegel and Ariel Lowen, and those two are hilarious. They are two little peas in a pod together, and it's kind of like me and Aaron. And when we were out there, I was like, Aaron, this is literally us right here. They were so funny and so nice, and it was really great to kind of see those athletes in their elements, but also being
like them,
also
regular
like
people.
Human, as well. So that was really cool. But then day 2, day 3, you're like, oh,
screw you. Time to go work out.
I got focused now.
For the 8th time, in 2 days, time to go work out.
I do have to say, though, there was a point in time where one of our workouts, was it the last day or the second? It was the second to, no, it had to have been, it was the second day. We had a workout that had ring pull-ups outside, and you had to jump over a log and then sprint through, and it was called like mixed mode or something. There was only so many rings in the warm-up area that all of the adaptive athletes were warming up in one corner, and I was like, Amy, there's rings across the like
on the other side.
On the other side, not realizing that I just walked us into the like where Mayhem and all the teams of Mayhem.
There are 50 people they had.
Yeah, were there, and I was like, do you mind if I use these rings? And they're like, yeah, sure. So Amy and I were sitting there, we're strategizing, trying to figure this out, because they're long ropes.
Right.
And now you can't kip them. They're too long. There's not enough tension.
Oh, the straps from the,
yeah. There's not enough tension in it. So you have to essentially butterfly or strict single them. So we quickly tried to, learn to butterfly them. And 3 of the Mayhem girls immediately jumped in without even thinking of it and started to be like, oh, try this. This is how it's going to feel outside because the ropes
wind,
are so long in the wind. So try it this way. And I, first off, like, they're just exhausted as I am, if not, probably more, because they have a couple more workouts. And they didn't even think twice about helping out.
That's
and
really
giving
cool.
advice, which was amazing, yeah. And Amy and I walked away, and it didn't hit me until we walked right past Rich. And I was like, Amy, I think I just took us into, like, the Mayhem corner of the Mayhem pit. And she just, like, smiled and shook her head. She's like, yeah, I noticed that right away when we walked
in. That's so funny.
But, like,
it's a very Lauren thing to do.
Right? And, but I was like, man, that just, I think, kind of speaks to the quality of people that Rich brings into to his gym and his programs, because those 3 girls didn't think twice about helping out, which was awesome. And then I went out in the workout and strung 18 together.
Yeah, it worked.
You
should have went back over like, good job, guys.
Yeah, right. I did try to find them later to thank them, but we just never crossed paths again.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite workout from the games?
Elevated Elizabeth was definitely one because of the parallettes. So the night before, actually, we got to practice on them, and my shoulder totally gave out on it, and I was like, uh-oh. Eek, this is going to be rough.
Yeah.
And I just went in super hyper-focused and didn't fail a single traverse.
Oh, there you go.
And that was my first win. So that was definitely one of my favorites.
That was day 1 then, right?
Day 2.
Day 2.
Yeah. But my favorite had to have been the sprint in the Coliseum. It was just the very last workout, coming off of the pool, which totally messed up my head completely. And, we can talk about that, but the fact that it was just like 15, 10, it's like, let's do this, let's be done.
Yeah, gas pedal down.
And I never thought I was a strong biker, maybe until like that moment.
Yeah. And
I was like, my judge's hand went up with meaning 5 cows left and no one else's did. And I was like, oh, keep going.
You went ham on that bike. I remember watching, yeah.
And then I just didn't stop. I couldn't feel my legs, but I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to cross, and Erin was right in front of me. And, just to be done and to have won the last workout of the games for that year.
That's dope, dude. It's like, I'm at the CrossFit Games. I got to send it right now.
Right? And that's what I did. I was like, what do you have to lose? Like, you don't want to, leave it out here with anything to question. So I didn't.
That's awesome. What happened during the swim event?
So the pool was really rough for me. I actually have molded earplugs and ones that go pretty deep into my ear as well. And unfortunately, I had left them back in the athlete area. I know. And I was not actually really thinking or preparing for the fact that it was going to be that super loud in there. I knew it was going to be loud, from like a pool perspective. I had my acupuncture needles in my ears, which helps with the ringing. So I figured, okay, like, that should keep me at bay. When we showed up, Alec was like, hey guys, also FYI, it's extremely loud in there.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, I got chills over my body, and I was like, I don't have my earplugs.
Oh my god.
I didn't bring them. And I was like, crap. So, we tried as best to like keep the my cap over my ears, or like, and I kept my ears like on in my fingers in my ears for a good chunk of time. It just wasn't helping. So take a pool, add a broadcast team, an MC, music, and now fans.
And athletes.
Yeah. Think about the volume related to that. And if you can't imagine it, go stand on at a concert on the stage with no earplugs in.
Yeah, an indoor pool too at that.
Yeah, and just try to imagine. And so the volume was insane, and we had a good chunk of time before we had to line up, and as we were probably a couple minutes before lining up, my head was ready to just skyrocket off of my body. I was in pure pain. I couldn't do it. I was spiraling. I was sitting curled up in a ball, and Kevin Ogar.
Yeah.
Shannon Ogar, his wife, she also has a brain injury, and she saw that I was spiraling, and I was like, I looked at Amy and I said, if we do not go, I do not know if I can do this. And that would have hurt me in points. So I was like, I would get no points for it, which I needed them to keep my second. And Shannon literally took earplugs out of her ears and handed them over to me. And said, you need these. I will go find another pair. Don't take them. So she's the saving grace of what allowed me to just kind of cut some of it to even get in the pool. I got in the pool, was not feeling so great, just did what I needed to. On the third ski, I was like, I don't feel good. So I knew I wasn't going to finish that ski at that time. So I just kind of, did what I did, could do, and just scooted off to the side, and then asked for a medic to leave because I was like, I can't be in here anymore.
Got some points, stayed on the board.
Yeah. So, and just got out of there, and, we got changed and got me right out of the building because I couldn't be in there with that noise level anymore. Yeah. And then I tried to take a nap between there and the last workout to just kind of calm my head down again a little bit, but that really messed me up for a couple of days.
So that was day 1, day 2?
That was the last day. So this one was on the third day, but I still felt
even after leaving, I
still felt the repercussions from that pool until Monday or Tuesday.
Damn. That's crazy, yeah. So what was your favorite moment at the games outside of just workouts?
I mean, Aaron and I definitely had a lot of laughs. I think probably one of my favorite moments, though, is the fact that we met some of the one of the girls that I was competing with, and she was in the upper extremity. We found out that her friends were actually staying right below us, and they're like, "You guys are a bunch of elephants." And we were like, "Oh, sorry. We actually thought the people above us were elephants."
Yeah, we're trying to beat them. I don't know, man.
And she was, she's like, "I swear, you guys are so loud at night." And we looked at each other and we're like, that's because Erin drops her charger off the bed every single night. She's falling asleep with her laptop on her thing.
Working.
And sure enough, after they said that to us, we went upstairs and we were getting ready. She was laying in bed, and sure enough, her charger falls right off the bed, and it's a big old thud.
That's it.
And then we both just start laughing, and we're like, oh my god, that is exactly why they think we are elephants right there.
There goes the elephant right there.
Yeah. But the other thing that really just made me laugh was the fact that apparently Erin would have conversations with me, and I was starting to fall asleep and not realize that I would completely fall asleep but still answer her.
Yeah.
So
little sleep talk going on.
Yeah.
I think when you compete at the games, you give give a little bit of excuse for that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but no, we definitely had a lot of funny moments. I managed to lose every single hotel key and the car key. So thank goodness there was valets.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would be SOL.
So next year for the games, you got to remember to have a coach, media person, and then a key person.
Someone one of them keep all the things.
Maybe one of them could share double duties.
Right?
Key duty is not that hard.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure we went through about 8 hotel keys.
Oh my god. I've been there, done that though.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I do lose keys all the time.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But so you held on to it, came in second, like stayed on the podium. Like, how did that feel?
It was pretty good. I was I went in with no kind of expectations with the fact that I was like, I'm here. The worst I can be is like 5th place, and that's at the CrossFit Games, 5th in the world. So I like to try to go into those situations without too much pressure on me, because if there's too much pressure, you let yourself down.
Yeah.
And just wanted to really enjoy the moment, because it was a long road for me to get somewhere that, made me feel happy and satisfied and that I did it again.
Right.
So I just really wanted to enjoy it. And that was just a nice cherry on top of everything, was, to come back. And I think that's kind of why, people are like, your story is so inspiring. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that,
It's different when you're limited, though.
Yeah,
right?
For me, it was just like I felt whole.
Yeah.
I felt whole again, and I didn't feel whole for a long time there. And it's something that I kind of live by in some capacity, and I say this a lot in mentoring sessions for work with people, is the whole fact of be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I wasn't listening to that at a point in time after the injury.
Yeah.
And finally started to really listen to that again, and just put myself, by ripping off the Band-Aid to do the open, was me being comfortable being uncomfortable, and starting to venture outside of my norm, venture outside the fact of acknowledging what is going on in my life and the injuries and the impairments that I have to date. And then from there, also just being comfortable with people looking at me and thinking I'm normal, and me just understanding the truth.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to deal with, right?
Yep.
Like not getting credit for. I mean, it's a hard way to put it, it's dude, I have to deal with this every day.
Yeah.
And you're making judgments on it.
Yeah. We just live in that world, and I think it's unfortunate. And I've said I will never, especially now living this for however many years now, between my thoracic outlet and now, the brain injury and the ataxia and everything that comes with that, I will never, from a neuromuscular perspective, I will never try to understand what it is like living in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
I can never understand, and the word shouldn't be I don't want to understand, but no one should assume what life is like for someone with MS or cerebral palsy, or, who's had a stroke and is left side affected. Don't just judge the book.
Yeah.
Because for neuromuscular conditions, a lot of things are going on below the surface, and unless you're taking the time to notice or understand or ask the questions and understand the whys or hows, then you have no right to point a finger.
Yeah. That's so real, dude.
It's an honor to have competed beside all the adaptive athletes. I think everyone is, amazing for their own feats and things like that. And I think it's really kind of cool to see how each person and each body reacts, and how it reacts differently and how it reacts the same.
Yeah. And
it's really fun in some capacity to be by people, and you're like, you feel the same way? And someone you're with actually gets it. So, that moment where Shannon Ogar saw me just curled up in a ball, half in tears, I can't do this, I need to leave. She knew. She's like, I've been in that ball before.
Yeah.
So to have people that get that is really, really awesome and powerful.
People that can slightly relate to you, right?
Yep.
So with all this said, man, what's next? What are you hungry for now?
I'm hungry for my body to recover. we're almost a month out from the games, and
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm dragging a little bit, but definitely back in the gym and working out and just getting moving, and then slowly getting back into some strength training and some skills here too. Skills that I think that we, myself and Amy think that we probably can accomplish. We know that some of them are off the table for just kind of what's going on. But it's just back to the grind. The grand question that I get is Wadapalooza ? And the answer is no. I've had some real conversations with my doctors, and I think it's appropriate for my health in terms of a longevity to just try to limit the overall strain on the body to once a year.
Right, like pick one big one and okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, exactly. That is definitely kind of where it's at, and I'll be cheering on, of course, everyone else, like in the adaptive and wheel wad and Wadapalooza and things like that, and just watching them do their thing. But for me, it's just going to be, taking it one day at a time, getting back in here with Amy, and we've started our sessions, and see you in the open.
Yeah, Games 2023.
Yep.
Heck yeah. All right, Lauren, it's been a great episode. I think people are going to be inspired by this.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, dogs, we're getting out of here. Peace.
Bye. Thank